This instructional video is to be used only as a training aid. It is not intended as a replacement for the operating instructions or repair manuals. Installation operations should be performed by properly trained personnel. Before beginning any no-blow installation or repair procedure, be sure to read, understand, and follow the operating instructions in the manual. And remember, always use genuine Mueller parts and always use the appropriate safety equipment. This video training module will illustrate the installation or repair procedures using Mueller Company's H-17650 Valve Tee.
The Mueller H-17650 no-blow valve tee consists of the following: the body machined from a solid steel forging, a bronze bushing, a stainless steel stem, and a cast iron completion cap. The valve tee is similar in appearance to a service tee. In fact, its outside appearance is so similar, Mueller has cast a large V on the cap of the valve tee. This V on the cap makes it easy to identify the valve tees when both types are being used in a system. The Mueller Valve Tee is available in sizes 3/4 inch through 2 inch. The maximum pressure rating of this tee is 250 psi. A higher pressure version rated at up to 1440 psi is available as an H-17656 valve tee. It has a steel cap in place of the cast iron cap. The H-17656 valve tee has an O-ring seal between the stem and bushing. The 1440 psi rating applies for H-17656 tees up to the 1 1/4 inch size. The 2-inch H-17656 valve tee has a maximum pressure of 720 psi. Before beginning any tee installation, the proper toolkit must be selected. To do this, 3 things must be known: the size and style of the tee, the drilling machine being used, the type of valve or control chamber that will be used. With this information, the appropriate tools can be selected from the Mueller Gas Products catalog. Once the toolkit has been selected, the necessary work can proceed. In this demonstration, the E5 drilling machine and the H17025 control chamber will be used to install the 1-inch H17650 valve tee. Mueller has 8 basic procedures that are recommended for any tee installation. They are: read, understand, and follow the instructions given in the operating manual. Clean the main. Attach the tee. Test for leakage. Set up the equipment on the tee. Perform the drilling operation. Insert the completion plug. Install the completion cap. Following these steps, first thoroughly clean the main of dirt and burrs for a smooth surface on which to weld the tee. Before doing any welding, remove the cast iron cap and bronze completion plug from the tee. The welding can often be made easier by welding the service line to the tee above ground. Extend the service line to the first shutoff point and close the valve. Now, weld the tee to the main. Mueller recommends that the test cap be on the tee during the welding operation. It serves 4 functions. It protects the outside threads from weld splatter. It allows the hot welding gases to escape through the hole in the cap. It keeps the tee from warping. And it provides a way to connect a pressure source to the tee after it is air-cooled to test the welds for leaks. Once the welds are tested, use the H-17615 center punch on the main to give the drill a true start on the top of the pipe. We are now ready to bring this tee into service by drilling the main. The H-17025 control chamber has a maximum working pressure of 125 psi. It has a bronze body which contains a quick-opening, self-aligning, pressure-sealed flop valve. The valve handle clearly indicates the open or closed position of the flop valve and contains a thumb screw for securing the valve in these positions. The control chamber has a bypass relief valve used to equalize pressure above and below the flop valve to make opening easy. The bypass relief valve also permits expelling the gas inside the machine before it is removed. The valve also provides a way to test connections for pressure tightness. The control chamber comes with 3 bottom bushings for different sized tees, 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and 1 1/2 inch, to fit different sizes of tees. There are optional bushings available in 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch sizes. Bushings are easily changed by removing the set screw and using the spanner wrench to unthread the bushing from the control chamber. A totally contained O-ring makes a positive seal between the chamber body and bushing. Features of the control chamber offer these advantages over the commonly used bronze gate valve. Control chamber parts are field replaceable. Those of the bronze gate are not. One chamber can fit 5 sizes of tees. A bronze gate fits only 1 size of tee. A bypass relief valve is available on the control chamber. It is not available on the bronze gate valve. Before starting the drilling operation, check to be sure the control chamber is securely installed on the tee, that the flop valve is open, and that the bypass relief valve is in the bypass position. Also, make sure the drill is clean and free of dirt and debris, especially at the cutting edges. This can be done by honing the leading edges before each use. Thread the combined drill and holder into the right-hand threads at the end of the drilling machine's boring bar. Wrench tight. Apply cutting grease on the end of the drill and retract the drill into the body of the machine. Place the machine on top of the control chamber and tighten it. Do not use a pipe wrench on the machine. The serrated jaws will damage the machine. Smooth-jawed, adjustable wrenches for this purpose are provided with the machine. Lower the drill until it contacts the main. Engage the feed yoke above the thrust collar and secure it into place with the pivot arm and thumb screw. Raise the drill off the main slightly by turning the feed tube approximately 1/4 turn in a counterclockwise direction. This gives the tool a true start and allows the drill to start turning before cutting into the main. It also keeps the drill from starting in a bind. The E5 machine has a recommended cutting ratio of 10:1. This means 10 full turns using the ratchet handle to 1 full turn of the yoke handle. If the yoke is fed too fast, the drill may bind and you risk breakage. A light, slow feed is best. There is no set travel distance to monitor. It will be obvious when the drill penetrates the main because the yoke will turn freely. Once drilling through the main has been completed, the machine chamber and tee will be under full line pressure. Mueller recommends using the feed yoke to retract the drill by leaving it engaged with the boring bar, turning the yoke in a counterclockwise direction. This will allow the operator to keep the boring bar under control so that piston action cannot cause it to snap upward and possibly cause a serious injury. Once the drill is raised above the flop valve, close the flop valve and lock it in position with a thumb screw. This will prevent accidental opening of the flop valve. Turn the bypass relief valve to the relieve position, which will expel the pressure from the upper section of the control chamber and the machine body. Remove the machine and unthread the drill from the boring bar. Clean and hone the drill so it will be ready for the next use and store properly. Installing the valve tee differs from a conventional service tee. With the valve tee, a bronze bushing and a stainless steel stem will be installed. These parts comprise the valve mechanism of the valve tee. The valve T is open when the stainless steel stem is in the full up position and closed when the stem is down. In the full open position, the stem backseats against the bronze bushing, and in the closed position, the stem seats against a metal ledge in the T-body. The stem and bushing may be inserted with the Mueller H-17650 completion machine or the E5 machine. When using the E5 machine, select the proper inserting tool from the toolkit section of the catalog. An easy release inserting tool has been selected for this demonstration. For proper tool operation, it is important to check to be sure the threads are free of dirt and that the shoulders are free of nicks or burrs. After examining the inserting tool, thread the stem of the T about halfway out of the bushing. Attach the shank of the inserting tool into the bushing. Then slide the forks over the bushing. Thread the stem into the bushing until it strikes the base of the shank. Then turn it about a half a turn in the opposite direction to separate the stem slightly from the tool. More than half a turn could prevent the bushing threads from mating with the inside threads of the valve T. After the bushing and stem have been properly attached to the inserting tool, attach the tool to the E5 machine boring bar by threading it into the right-hand threads in the base of the bar. Wrench tight. Now thread the shank and plug onto the nut. Hand tighten only, so the two sections will separate after securing the plug. Pull the bushing and stem into the E5 machine as far as possible and attach the E5 machine to the control chamber. Turn the bypass relief valve to the bypass position and open the flop valve. The boring bar will now be under line pressure, making it necessary to control the piston action. Attach the feed yoke and lock the pivot arm thumb screw. Turn the yoke clockwise to lower the bushing until it contacts the top of the valve T. Then thread the bushing into the valve T by rotating the ratchet handle and feed yoke in a clockwise direction. After the bushing seats in the valve T, check for tightness by turning the bypass relief valve to the relieve position. There will be a small but steady flow of gas coming out of the bypass relief valve because the stem is in half-open position. A large flow would indicate the bushing is not in place. Once the bushing is seated properly, remove the feed yoke, reverse the direction of the ratchet, take out the slack, and then strike the ratchet handle a sharp blow in the counterclockwise direction. This will separate the two sections of the easy release inserting tool. Remove the E5 machine from the control chamber and then remove the control chamber from the T. Raise the forks of the inserting tool, leaving the tool in place to support the thread in the bushing. Tighten the bushing with the completion wrench. Remove the shank of the inserting tool. Now, with a screwdriver, thread the stem up until it backseats against the bronze bushing. Apply sealant to the outside threads of the valve T body. Place the completion cap over the threads. and tighten the cap with a wrench. Test the entire fitting for leaks. An all-welded main-to-service connection has been made under pressure, and with the job complete, the tee has a double pressure seal. All this was done in a safe and controlled, no-blow manner, with no gas blowing to the atmosphere. To make a shutoff in the valve tee, all that is needed is a screwdriver and wrench. Loosen the completion cap and check to be sure the cap is not under line pressure, which would be indicated by a heavy leakage of gas. If little or no gas escapes, slowly remove the completion cap. Place a screwdriver in the stem slot and thread the stem down until it seats against the body ledge. If the valve tee has been in service for a number of years, there may be dirt on the body seat. Clean the body seat with the stem by rotating the stem back and forth with a screwdriver. The valve tee is now in the closed position. Repairs can be made on the service line once it has been verified that gas flow has been stopped in the line. Another feature of the valve tee is the tamper-proof design. When the stem is in the closed position, it can be locked in place. This is done by holding the stem in place on the ledge with a screwdriver and turning the bushing counterclockwise 1/4 turn with the wrench. Now the stem is locked. The differential threads between the stem and bushing cause this locking action. To open the valve tee, place a screwdriver in the stem slot. Place the proper completion wrench on the bushing. Hold the stem stationary and turn the bushing clockwise about 1/4 turn. The bushing should remain in place and be tight. Thread the stem up until it back seats against the bushing. Apply sealant to the outside threads of the tee body and place the completion cap on the tee. Wrench tighten the completion cap and test the entire fitting for leaks. Another feature of the Mueller Valve Tee is that it may be reconditioned under full line pressure. For this demonstration, assume the valve tee on this main has been in service for a number of years and a positive shutoff cannot be achieved. Two things could be preventing the valve from making a positive shutoff. The threads in the valve mechanism could be worn and leaking, or a burr or nick may be preventing the stem from seating on the body ledge. The first step in reconditioning the valve tee is to extract the bushing and stem. Slowly remove the completion cap, checking for line pressure as described earlier in this presentation. Loosen the bushing with a wrench. And place a screwdriver in the stem slot. Thread the stem halfway down into the bushing. The E5 machine and extracting tool could be used, but the lightweight Mueller H-17650 completion machine will be demonstrated. Attach the machine to the control chamber and extend the machine shaft out of the bottom. Hold the machine over the valve tee and thread the machine shaft into the bushing. Slide the extracting fork over the bushing and attach the control chamber to the valve tee. Tighten the control chamber to the valve tee. And place the bypass relief valve in the bypass position. Turn the machine crank handle in the counterclockwise direction. This will unthread the bushing and stem from the valve tee. Raise the bushing and stem above the flop valve. Close the flop valve and turn the bypass relief valve to the relieve position. This will exhaust the pressure from the control chamber and the machine. Remove the machine from the control chamber and lower the stem and bushing out of the stuffing box. Slide the extracting fork back and remove the bushing and stem from the machine shaft. Examine them for worn threads, and if the threads are worn, replace the stem and bushing with new parts. To polish the body seat, use the E5 machine, a tool holder, and a reaming tool. All of these items are listed as optional tools in the toolkit section of the Mueller gas catalog. Check the threads and the shoulders of the tools to make sure they are free from dirt, nicks, or burrs. Thread the tools together wrench tight. And attach them to the boring bar of the E5 machine by threading the tool holder onto the right-hand threads at the base of the boring bar, wrench tight. Pull the reaming tool into the E5 machine. Attach the E5 to the control chamber, wrench tight. Turn the bypass relief valve to the bypass position. The boring bar is now under line pressure. Open the flop valve. Engage the feed yoke and use it to push the reaming tool down until it seats against the body ledge. This is an operation where the crank handle is used to good advantage. Loosen the wing nut and pivot the handle up, then retighten the wing nut. Turn the crank handle in a continuous clockwise direction. This will eliminate any nicks or burrs and polish the seat evenly. The reaming tool will only clean the seat. It will not enlarge the body seat to the extent that it would require an oversized bushing and stem to make a shutoff. When the seat has been polished, raise the reaming tool up above the flop valve by turning the yoke counterclockwise. Close the flop valve. Turn the bypass relief valve to the relieve position and remove the E5 machine. Now the bushing and stem can be reinstalled using the same steps used earlier, or use the completion machine. After the stem and bushing are in the valve tee, tighten the bushing with the proper completion wrench and lower the stem until it seats against the reconditioned ledge. A positive shutoff should now be possible. Once the repairs have been made, raise the stem until it back seats against the bushing to re-establish gas service. The valve is now in the open position. Recoat the outside threads of the valve tee with pipe sealant and place the completion cap over the threads. Tighten the cap and test the entire fitting for leaks. We have used the Mueller Valve Tee to make an all-welded main-to-service connection, made a positive shutoff in the valve tee using only a wrench and screwdriver, and we have completely reconditioned the valve tee under full line pressure. All of these steps have been done in a no-blow manner.
This completes our training video on the installation or repair procedures using Mueller's H-17650 Valve Tee. All of us at Mueller Company appreciate your interest in our products. For more information, please call our Customer Service Center at 1-800-798-3131. This presentation is part of a continuing series of training and instructional videos from Mueller Company. Mueller instructional videos are to be used only as training aids. They are not intended to replace the operating instructions or repair manuals. All installation operations should be performed by properly trained personnel. Before beginning any no-blow installation or repair procedure, be sure to read, understand, and follow the operating instructions in the manual. And remember, always use genuine Mueller parts, and always use the appropriate safety equipment.